Today is February 26th. It's the 57th day of the year, and this is the On This Day podcast. If you've been listening since the very first day, some of this may sound a little familiar to you. If you've joined after that, it'll all be new. Either way, I hope you enjoyed today's show. Brand spanking new episodes coming very soon. In April of 1814, Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte is forced to abdicate his position as ruler of the French Empire. He's exiled to the Mediterranean island of Elba off the western coast of Italy, where he continues to reign as emperor of that tiny 86 square mile island to which he is banished. France has been at war in one form or another for over a decade. In the early 19th century, it seems everyone in Europe is at war with everyone else. In 1814, Napoleon is at war with a coalition of allies comprised of Austria, Prussia, Russia, England, Portugal, Sweden, Spain, and the Confederation of the Rhine, which is parts of present-day Germany. And it's Napoleon the Allies are at war with, not France necessarily. When French leaders realize that the Allies will agree to peace once Napoleon is out of the picture, they remove him and exile him to Elba, where he is guarded by French and British warships. Cut to 1815, almost a year in exile on that tiny Tuscan island, and Napoleon has had enough. On this day in 1815, Napoleon Bonaparte gathers 1,000 men together, boards a 337-ton brig named Inconstant, slips past the guard ships that have let their guard down, and escapes his prison island Elba. He sails for France, and once there is met by the French army near Grenoble in the south of France. They are sent to arrest him, but he's a good talker and persuades them otherwise, and they shower him with cheers of "Vive l'Empereur!" They accompany Napoleon to Paris and eventually to the Battle of Waterloo in the period known as the 100 Days before he is once again exiled, this time on the island of St. Helena, and this time for the rest of his life. So all those Napoleonic wars are funded by Barings Bank in London. Founded in 1762, Barings is the oldest investment bank in the United Kingdom and one of the most respected financial institutions in the world. That is, until a Barings Bank derivatives trader working in their Singapore office overextends futures positions held by Barings on the CIMEX, the Singapore International Monetary Exchange, and faced with losses more than twice their available capital, Barings Bank collapses on this day in 1995. Derivatives trader Nick Leeson is supposed to be exploiting the difference of Nikkei index futures prices, making incremental profits by buying from one market, the Osaka Securities Exchange, and selling on another, the Singapore International Monetary Exchange, or vice versa, depending on where the Nikkei is on any given day. Normally, a trader in Leeson's position would not be allowed to make trades and then settle those same trades. There'd be some level of internal oversight, some safeguards. But in the Singapore office in 1995, Leeson is in charge both of the trading floor and the settlement of trades. There's no one overseeing him. And he begins to buy on one index, but instead of selling on the other, he holds the futures positions, gambling that he'll make an even bigger profit if he sits on them for a while. But when Leeson starts racking up losses, big losses, he begins doctoring documentation, showing them as profits instead, fabricating records and hiding his deficits in an errors account numbered 88888, known as the 5/8 account. By the end of 1994, Leeson has lost Barings nearly $300 million, but he reports $150 million in profit. But a deception of this scale cannot be sustained, especially when an earthquake in Kobe, Japan causes the Nikkei index to plummet. The writing is on the wall, and Leeson flees Singapore on February 23rd, leaving a note saying, quote, "Sorry." 3 days later, On this day in 1995, Barings Bank crashes. Nick Leeson's losses totaling $1.3 billion bankrupt Barings Bank, leading to the total collapse and dissolution of the 233-year-old establishment. The Dutch bank ING purchases the remains of Barings for £1 British. Nick Leeson goes on the lam, but is caught in Germany and returned to Singapore, where he pleads guilty to forgery, deception, and cheating. He is sentenced to 6.5 years in a dank Singapore prison, but is let out early when he's diagnosed with colon cancer. He survives the cancer, goes on to a position as CEO of Galway United Football Club for 4 years, and now does speaking engagements in which he recounts his adventures in banking and the big house. Born on this day in 1829, Levis Strauss. Born Loeb Strauss in the Bavarian region of Germany, Strauss emigrates to America in the 1840s and works with his brothers at a dry goods business they run in New York. And it's there that he adopts the nickname Levi. In 1853, Strauss becomes an American citizen and heads west to take part in the California Gold Rush. He opens his own dry goods business in San Francisco. In 1872, Levi, as he's known to his employees and customers, is contacted by one of his regular customers, a tailor in Nevada named Jacob Davis. Davis is taking the cloth he buys from Levi and making pants that are riveted at the stress points, such as pocket corners, creating a more durable product for his laborer customers. Davis suggests that together they patent the concept, combining Levi's denim with Davis's rivets. So they do. Patent number 139121 is granted in 1873 for an ergonomic garment with fastening pocket openings, what we now call blue jeans. In the 1890s, Levi Strauss & Company sells their first pair of 501s, and they sell a couple more pairs over the years. Levi Strauss, born on this day in 1829, is a lifelong bachelor, and when he passes away in 1902 at the age of 73, he leaves his business to his nephews. There are 309 days left in the year.